You're looking at a 1935 Bertram Hutchings Winchester Deluxe. It's 16 foot 3 inches long, weighs around 1200 kilograms and was the absolute last word in luxury when it was new. The exterior is clad in hardboard and it has a painted canvas roof. Inside it is double skinned with oak-faced ply, though there is no insulation used at all. It's affectionately known as Hutch, and this caravan was purchased by us in a very sorry state back in 2016. It turns out, after much investigation, Hutch was the longest and most expensive Winchester caravan produced in 1935. It has enjoyed a very lively history, which we will delve into later on in the video. But for now, enjoy absorbing the stunning exterior design of this automotive piece of art.
I haven't a worry, I haven't a care, feel like a feather that's floating on air, fit as the fiddle and ready for love. Soon the church bells will be ringing, and a march with Ma and Pa. How those church bells will be ringing, with the hey nonny nonny and the hot cha cha. Hi diddle diddle, my baby's okay, ask me a riddle, oh what did she say?
Winchester Caravans were known as the Rolls-Royce of caravans. They were founded in the early 1900s by Bertram Hutchings, who was one of the early caravan pioneers. His initial designs were very boxy, reminiscent of the traditional horse-drawn caravans, complete with a Mollycroft roof, or lantern roof as some people call it. But in 1930, he would turn the entire caravan industry on its head with the launch of the first ever streamlined Winchester. Hutchings showed the world that caravans could be beautiful, and soon other manufacturers followed. Bertram Hutchings personally oversaw the designs himself, and the brand constantly evolved every year based on the feedback of their loyal customers. However, problems soon arose when people started to hire Winchester caravans and take them to the Wagoneers Club, which had been founded for Winchester owners, claiming that they belonged to them. This outraged many owners who'd invested huge sums of money into their caravans, so Winchester responded by designing models specifically for hire. These didn't feature the infamous Mollycroft roof, had wooden edged windows instead of the aluminium edged ones used on the more expensive models, and a lower specification of finish inside. That way, a custom built Winchester and a hire model could easily be told apart. Hutch was officially ordered by a Miss Dora E. Eads of Worcester back in April 1935. Hutch was completed around September of 1935, and Miss Eads requested that Winchester keep hold of it in storage until the caravanning season would begin in April 1936. Winchester used this opportunity to flash their new flagship model around, and a promotional tour of Scotland was hastily arranged to photograph Hutch in all its glory for the 1936 Winchester promotional material. It also made an appearance at the motor show of late 1935, sitting pride of place on the Winchester stand. Of all the models produced in 1935, just one other 16-foot 3-inch model was produced, but unlike Hutch, it only had a single skin construction and all 5 of the Mollycroft roof windows opened, whereas Hutch only has the middle 3, which are able to be opened. This has been a useful distinguishing feature when identifying Hutch in the dozens of photos that survive of this very caravan when it was new. Caravanning was only for the wealthiest of society before the war, as you needed to have a decent amount of money to afford a car, let alone a caravan as well. Winchesters were so revered that many were stashed during World War II, so that they weren't requisitioned for the war effort. Winchester Caravans were allowed to keep producing caravans throughout the war, as the government offered to pay for a custom model for owners of the stately homes that they were requisitioning during the war. Head off into the countryside for a few months. Have a nice little caravan holiday until all this blows over, they would say. If only they knew. Hutch was a regular sight at the Wagoneers Club rallies in the 1930s and late 1940s. The caravan changed hands many times, but has remained a regular sight at steam rallies in the 1970s and 80s. Hutch was finally placed in a barn in the early 1990s and forgotten about until we purchased it as part of a house clearance in 2016. We hadn't long taken on our first classic caravan restoration project, and restoring Hutch was an extremely steep learning curve. We managed to get it usable enough to enjoy some wonderful trips away throughout 2016 and 2017, but since then it's been waiting in our barn for a much deeper specialist restoration. But we thought it would be a wonderful time to dust it off and show everyone this very special caravan for the VE Day celebrations. So let's take a look inside. The heart of any home is without doubt the kitchen, and that is something that Winchester paid a lot of attention to. And the eye for detail is quite stunning throughout the whole kitchen. You have little things like this is where the sink is, and it has this cover on top which is actually completely removable and has a little lip around the outside so you can use it as a tea tray. But it doesn't just stop there, you can flip it over and find that it's clad in aluminium, and you can use it elsewhere in the kitchen as a chopping board. And when you're done washing up your genuine Winchester cups, you can fold down the movable draining board, and you might be thinking, well, it's perfectly level, where does the water go? And Winchester thought of that as well. It has this little bracket on the wall just to lift it up enough to allow the water to drain into the sink once you've finished washing it. And once you've finished washing up your Winchester china, you can put it in its dedicated storage place in this cupboard. And here we have a set of the original plates which were provided with the Caravan when it was new, and they are housed in this rather clever spring-loaded storage section, which means that they don't vibrate and move when you're travelling down the road. And the Winchester china has this famous blue Winchester Caravan on it, and it was made by Woods of Staffordshire, and it's very, very collectible today. And you can still cook up a feast in your Winchester, because they used the best of the best when it came to gas appliances. And in the 1930s, gas appliances weren't that common in any caravan, but Winchester were among the first manufacturers to have them. And you'll see here we have the original beautiful enamel cooker, which features a grill underneath and two hobs on top. And this bit here is actually a plate warmer, which fastens up here underneath the cupboard, so that while you're cooking, the heat rising can warm your plates ready for dinner. Like lots of old things, the Winchester is full of secrets, and the secrets which we may never know that these four walls have seen over the past 80 years. But there's a few which I can show you, and that is the secret cubby holes. Now, you will have noticed that there's no refrigerator. In the 1930s, we were still a couple of decades away from getting those in caravans, and it would take another few decades for them to become a standard fitting. So Winchester got around this by allowing the owner direct access to the coldest part of the caravan, which is outside underneath. And providing that your food was wrapped up well to stop prying animals from taking it, you could store things down hatches, such as this secret one here, that allow access from inside the caravan to outside underneath. We also have a main hatch underneath the floor in the middle of the caravan, which originally would have had lino, and unfortunately it was too bad to salvage when we got the caravan, so we've carpeted it. But if I roll back the carpet, I can show you exactly where the hatch in the floor is. I'm at the front end of the Winchester now, and I call it the business class lounge because it's elevated from the rest of the caravan, and the reason for that is because beneath my feet a bath in the floor. And you'll be thinking, how on earth do they squeeze a bath in the floor? And I don't get too excited. It's just enough for people to have a wash-in in the true 1930s style. By lifting up the floorboards, we expose the original blue enamel bath. Up here is actually typically where Winchester intended that the children would be put. The idea being is they're at the front of the caravan, they can be screened off from the rest of it, allowing mum and dad to have use of the kitchen and the rear seating area after the children had gone to bed. These two sofas convert into singles and are sat in the recess of the front shelf, which cleverly folds away to allow you to use the full length of the single berth. Over there we have the original paraffin heater, which can be moved anywhere in the caravan, and there's a small extension piece to fill in the gap to complete the 6-foot single berth. The Winchester has two very generous wardrobes. The one on the left contains hanging space and the one on the right is shelved with extra drawers. And you may be looking around and thinking, where is the bathroom? Well, let me show you. Winchester thought of everything. And once you've finished enjoying the great outdoors for the day in your beautiful Winchester Caravan, you can relax at the rear lounge area, which is also the double bed, and it can convert in almost the blink of an eye. Let me show you how. We just grab this leather strap at the back, tilt it forward, slide and drop. And these cushions don't look very comfortable, but they're unbelievably filled with horsehair. They weigh so much it takes two of us to lift these rear cushions because they weigh so much. But on this sliding mechanism, no bother at all. So we're all ready to enjoy a beautiful night's sleep.